Yes, painful decision. Jim Ryan is following the circus story. All he needs is a couple of elephants, and it'll be a 3-ring circus. Jim Ryan, ABC News correspondent, good morning.
Morning, McGraw. Yeah, it's something that the parents I think, have been dreading for some time, and yet I think something that the Feld family had seen coming for a few years, that declining ticket sales finally took their toll. There was even a judgment that was handed in favor of Feld Entertainment, the owners of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, a couple of years ago, to the tune of $25 billion. But even that $25 million wasn't enough to keep the circus going. They will fold up their tents, quite literally, in May and be done with the show.
So I've heard that one of the reasons, or one of the final nails in the coffin, was that they themselves took it upon themselves to take elephants out of the circus. How much is that to blame for what's going on?
Well, consider the popularity of elephants as a circus act, and especially at Ringling Brothers. They'd been a part of the show for the whole 146-year history. As soon as the elephants were taken out of the show last year and retired to a preserve in Florida, ticket sales, which already had been kind of waning, dropped off dramatically. And that sort of, I think, told Feld Entertainment that they just couldn't sustain this anymore. They couldn't keep the animals in the show. They couldn't keep elephants in the circus and traveling around the country and satisfy animal rights groups that they were being treated well. They took them out of the show, and ticket prices or ticket sales dropped precipitously, and that's when they decided to finally shut it down.
And so when are the final shows?
In May. There will be 2 shows in May. There are 2 traveling shows at any given time around the country. So there will be 2 final shows, one in Rhode Island and one in New York, and that'll be it.
Wow. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, no more. That is a slice of my... I remember going as a kid, we went. It was just, It was great, right? I mean, every kid went to the circus, right?
Right, yeah, I think, and that's still the case. You see families that are filing into whatever arena or stadium or wherever the show happens to be. And unfortunately, though, McGraw, and I think this is kind of at the heart of the problem, if you look around the crowd, you see a lot of grandparents, a lot of parents, and a lot of kids. Unfortunately, the kids, as often as not, are not looking at the elephants or the tigers. They're looking at their phones and playing a game. You know?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Jim Ryan, who was no clown himself, ABC News correspondent from Dallas. Jim, thanks for checking in.
Not literally. Thanks.
There you go. When we were kids, we went to they took us to the circus. This is a legendary night in the Millhaven household. They took us to the circus, and on a special treat, I was little, but it was the spring, and they took us to dinner. So it was at Madison Square Garden, and they took us to dinner, and we sat down for dinner. And this is the rare occasions where we all went to like a nice dinner. So if I'm 6, right, my sister is an infant, and my oldest sister is 15. So you have 15 to an infant, okay, sitting at the table. And we order milk, but what they bring is buttermilk. Have you ever had buttermilk straight up? It's not good for a 6-year-old. It just tastes weird. And so we refused to drink it. The kids were like, I'm not drinking it. Don't drink the milk. It's spoiled. And so we were like, this is terrible. And they said, you're not going to the circus if you don't drink the buttermilk. I was like, fine, we're not going to the circus. So they made my oldest sister, Linda, say, Linda, if you don't drink this, no one's going to the circus. So our poor sister, Linda, the oldest one, had to drink all of the buttermilk.
Just squeeze that nose and put it back.
Yeah, we were like, and still to this day, she's like, and they made me drink the buttermilk. So I have fond memories of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. That was a fun night. I remember the little light with the flip-top light, and you'd whiz it around.
Yeah.
Yeah. The circus was the best. But, right, no more.
No more.
I also find it interesting that Ringling Brothers, started by P.T. Barnum, is going away at the same time Donald Trump is being sworn in as president of the United States.
One circus leaves, one comes to town. Yeah.
And there is, well, I won't say it. It's a time to come together. 6:57, Big 550, KTRS.
Hi, Frank.